Hi guys, we're here, we're doing the church stories and I'm with Peter and Janine in their lovely garden. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good
Afternoon.
afternoon. So we're going to be having a nice little chat together and I just thought we could start off by, I just want to know what you guys have been up to in lockdown. What have you been up to?
Well, over lockdown we have gained a grandson. So that's an
Congratulations.
exciting thing. So we now have 2 grandsons. So yes, our eldest daughter had a baby on Bank Holiday Monday, 25th of May.
Okay.
And baby Jonah. And I was very privileged. I was allowed to shield here and then go down so I could spend some time with them and look after their toddler, Isaac. So yes, that has been a very exciting part of our lockdown story.
Yeah, very joyful.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, and I'm happy you got to go and meet them as well. It's so
Yes,
special.
indeed.
So we're talking a little bit about justice and caring for others. And I just wanted to know something. Could you tell us about your journey with that? Because I know it's been a long journey and I've loved hearing it myself and I just want to share it with everyone. Some of what your journey's been with caring for others and the poor and with seeking justice for them.
More recently, we've been involved in the gender justice issues. We've been involved in gender justice issues, and I think that goes back to observation in family, particularly violence against women. And about 10 years ago, I was a leader in another church before King's, and was at a conference, and Elaine Storkey was speaking. And at that conference, she mentioned that 2 people who had left very high-powered jobs in Tier Fund and were starting a charity aimed at ending violence against women, a charity called Restored. And I had this overwhelming gut sensation that I needed to go up to Elaine Storkey at the end, get an email address and get involved. And that was the start of my involvement in real terms of violence against women. And we volunteered together.
Yes, yeah. I've helped out at a couple of conferences, the CRE at Sandown Park. The Restored had a stand there for the first time, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure.
This year. So,
Yes, I remember you saying you went.
Yes.
And that it's quite a unique standing on a stand experience because am I right in thinking you had people coming up to you telling you their stories?
Yep.
Very grateful that you were there.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about having conversations in the middle of a hall full of people and suddenly you're knowing someone's deepest lives. That must have been quite intense.
Yes, I think intense. I think you feel like you're in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only there, we've been at other conferences as well.
Jubilee Plus.
Jubilee Plus conference.
Last year.
And Janine, so obviously Peter's been in this realm for such a long time and has had spaces and opportunities to process, learn more, understand. I'm just interested, how do you deal with the heartbreak, sitting in those places of pain and not want to just rush out of them? Sorry if that puts you on the spot a little bit. I'm very interested by, we're called to sit in those spaces as the church,
Yes.
yet we love to problem solve and we love to fix, and how do you reconcile that and create those spaces?
I think, just a bit thinking that question through. I think just going back to maybe meeting some of those people at the CRE, because that was quite probably one of the first times I've had people tell me directly their stories. I know that Pete's spoken to people, obviously, but I think you have to be there as a support. You're not there to fix them or their issues, but I think even in that short time, you could talk that story through. I think sometimes it may be even the first time, some people spoke, it's like, I've realised that I'm in an abusive relationship. That's like their eyes were opened. And so that's the start of a journey for them.
Yeah.
So I think you're there to support them, you can pray with them and pray for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I just think when Janine was talking, I just thought it might be helpful just to say to anybody watching, because we don't know anyone's personal stories, then I'm sure the Anchor and the church office will have next steps if you would like to read and understand more, or if this is your experience and you're currently suffering from any form of domestic violence or abuse, please do reach out. King's Church is a safe space, and we want you to feel welcomed and vulnerable, and it's a safe space for you to do that. And it's the heart of the elders and the leadership team. So I was just reminded when you were talking that was an important thing to say, because we can often talk about things hypothetically, can't we?
Definitely.
We can talk about that, but we actually sometimes need to just ground it in this could be somebody's experience, and so it's important to address that.
And similarly, if anybody wanted to talk to us, we would be very happy to do so in confidence. I'd say two things though with respect to that. If anybody is in an abusive relationship and at any stage they fear for their life, they must phone the police, 999. And the other thing is that if you fear for your life but somebody's listening in on that telephone call to the police, there is now a code signal to the police that says that you can't speak on the phone. You just press the button 5. Okay. The other thing is that in this current Zoom age, there's a signal that's been adopted that says, I'm being abused, but I can't talk about it. And the perpetrator may be in the room. So if you ever see anybody do this, it means I can't talk, but I'm being abused. I need help. So those are little signals that you can pick up on. That's the other thing helpful. Is that if you're not in life's in immediate danger, then the thing to do is to talk also to the National Abuse Helpline. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's a free number. So it's 0808 2000 24/7.
Brilliant, thank you. I think I just want to end. I know that you guys want to talk about the domestic abuse bill. Sure. Which is very timely in this conversation we're having. And basically, this is a bill that's been put through committee and will be entering Parliament soon. Can you just briefly chat about what the bill is and what it hopes to achieve?
Sure. I mean, the domestic abuse bill builds on a previous bill which made coercive control illegal several years ago. But it actually builds on that by recognising domestic abuse as a criminal act. And defines what those acts are. But I think one of the most important things for the church is that there's going to need to be safeguarding in the same way that the Sexual Offences Against Children Act some 18 years ago came in, led to safeguarding for children within organisations. The church is going to have to do the same with regards to domestic abuse.
I'm sure that you can find out much more information online about the bill. That's the domestic abuse bill for anyone who needed to hear that again. And reach out to Peter and Janine if you want to know more information or if you want to unpack any of this further. I think I just want to land on, I feel like this has been a bit of a bomb of information on a Sunday morning as people were watching. So this will be the start of many of our journeys with understanding significant issues of pain and injustice like domestic abuse. So I guess just where would you go next? Where would you recommend we go next with this as an individual? What do we do with what you've just basically shared or what you've told us?
I would start with I'd start on your knees. I think it comes back to that relationship with Christ. To be a Christian is to serve, but actually to be a Christian is also to learn how to serve where Christ wants you, where Jesus wants you. So you start on your knees, you say, Lord, I have this on my heart. How do I develop this? Where do I go? What is it? Crystallize this out in my heart and my mind, and show me the path that I can walk in this. And the other thing is to talk to others about it. Talk to people who perhaps have a similar way of have a similar interest in justice issues, because they'll have contacts or organisations that they can point you in the direction of it. And then as the Holy Spirit starts to unfold and reveal things that you feel are important, then just start stepping out in that direction. That may be just contacting organisation and saying, I'd like to volunteer. It may be something within the church you can volunteer for. So if your passion is to work with older people within the church, then go to the Elder Bruce group. If we don't have anything within the church, then go somewhere outside the church. Go to the Joel Project or work with your local food bank. Janine works with a local food bank. That's where you feel called.
Yes. I think there are plenty of places. I think we don't spread ourselves too thinly.
Yeah.
But yes, I think God will lay something on your heart. I think if you are open, a few years ago, I felt the same way that Pete did about Restored, about credit unions and financial justice. And I had just done some general reading around, and then was at a house party of the church we were going to at the time, and somebody came to speak about credit unions. I couldn't actually go because at the time the children were small. I couldn't go into that meeting. But then there was a sort of follow-up meeting, and I basically just bombed it and came in and said, God has told me I've got to be involved in this. and it was just like, I couldn't do anything else really. And then I was involved in the credit union for about 10 years after that, until it folded. So yeah, God will lay something on your heart. And yes, I think talking to people, how did you get involved in whatever is, tell me your story. Don't be afraid to explore different things.
Yeah.
Because there's something out there for everyone. We are called to love justice, aren't we? And that it's not a you might, it's a commandment.
Yeah.